In this episode, we are going to have a look at K&FConcept's new VariableND feature. Hello guys, my name is Soner, and if you're searching an ND filter to add to your arsenal, you're in the correct place because this is the best ND filter I have used so far. I have the previous version of this new ND filter and they have done a couple of good changes. I will talk about those, but as you can see, the new one is bigger than the previous one. I got this one big. And if you're gonna get an ND filter, get the biggest one possible. You can find why in this video. Some of you already know what an ND filter is, and some of you are just getting into hobby and wondering what an ND filter is and do you need one. The answer is for sure you need an ND filter. So if you're just getting into hobby, you might wonder what's an ND filter. The natural density filter is one of the basic gear that should be included in every photographer and filmmaker's camera bag. Many beginners may don't know how, where and when to use them. I will also share some basic knowledge of ND filter in this video, so stay tuned for that. The ND filter is a filter that placed before the lens reduces the amount of light reaching the camera sensor. It acts like a pair of sunglasses to your lens. That's the easiest way to describe it. I would like to share 4 situations you might need an ND filter to help. First situation is the landscape photography. For example, when you want to bring the brightness of the sky down, then it would be a perfect time for a certain type of ND filter. What I mean by that is there is specific built ND filters for this scenario. You can check them on internet. The second situation is video. When you're shooting a video outside with fast lenses is another situation. For example, if you want to shoot with f2.8 or even wider during the day, when it's very bright, way too much light coming into your camera sensor, you cannot turn the ISO down further, and that's a problem you can solve without an ND filter. Many high-end video cameras have ND filters built into them.
Now we are outside, and as you can see, it's overexposed. My ISO is 400. I could drop ISO, but my camera's native ISO is 400, so I don't want to do that. Right now the ND filter is installed, so I can just make it darker, and as you can see now it's a good exposure and I can even go more. So ND filter comes handy in this kind of situation. If I wouldn't have it, this would be the final result.
Third situation is long exposure. I'm pretty sure you have seen on Instagram or the internet those dreamy looking pictures. You can be 100% sure those pictures are taken with an ND filter. If you want to take a long exposure photograph, for example, a landscape, a river, a stream or a waterfall, and you want to get that misty look, an ND filter is a way to go. And the fourth situation is, let's say you want to have shallower depth of field in very bright light. For example, outside, shooting when there is bright sunlight with f1.4, 1.8 can be almost impossible without an ND filter. So in these situations, you need an ND filter. Before we further ado, if you liked what you have seen so far, please crush the like button, and in this channel I'm doing tech review, unboxings, also tutorials, and if you are interested about this kind of content, consider subscribe. There is a lot of options when you want to buy an ND filter, so it might be confusing to pick an ND filter. When you want to buy an ND filter, those ND filters will have some numbers which will say 2ND, 4ND, 8ND. So if you're planning to get an ND filter with strength or intensity of 2, is going to let in half the amount of light. An ND filter of 4 is going to let in 1/4 of light, and so on. To be honest with you, I prefer variable ND filters because those fixed ND filters are of course good in some scenarios, but if the light, for example sun, is going behind the clouds and coming back, then you might want to change your ND filter all the time. So in those scenarios, variable ND filters comes handy because then you're able to adjust the strength of the ND filter, so that's why I prefer variable ND filter. And also I am personally shooting video, that's why I have to be quick when I'm adjusting the strength of the ND filter. I don't want to change all the time, you know, different filters, so that's why I prefer variable ND filter. That's why I recommend this specific product, because this is so far the best ND filter I have used so far, and in this video I'm going to explain more about this. With K&FConcept's new variable ND filter, you're able to adjust the strength of darkness to a total of 9 stops from ND2 to 400. Each stop is marked on frame, and this product is oil and waterproof, and it has also scratch resistant. And also super important, this filter doesn't have any vignetting and dark corners, which I experienced with cheap NT filters before. Trust me, they can be really annoying. But luckily this one is well built and I haven't faced any vignetting issues.
And as you can see, there is no crisscross. Right now it's at max. So this is ND 400.
Another feature which I fall in love with is this notch. I was always poking my ND filters while I was trying to adjust the density, which I hated, because I was leaving fingerprints, which can be really annoying. But they did a nice job by adding this notch to the outside, and it is different color also, which is really nice touch in my opinion. I said it before on this channel and I will say it again, if I'm buying a product and if it comes with a nice carrying case or a bag, I'm getting super happy, and I am willing to pay a couple of extra to be able to get that case or a cage which is designed for that specific product. And this ND filter also comes with a carrying case, and it's a good one. It has this magnets which is easy to open and close, and they added this rope which is kind of handy to take the ND filter out, so you don't need to put your fingers in and poke the filter, so it comes really handy in my opinion. So you just pull it in and ND filter comes out, and then you push it inside. There you have it. I mean, you don't need to, you know, poke ND filter while you're trying to get it out, so that's a nice touch as well. I believe this is fake leather, but it feels nice when you touch. I think you know what I mean. There is actually one complaint I have, but this is not just for this specific variable ND filter. I have seen the same thing on all the variable ND filters that I use at least, When you're adjusting the strength of the stops, these ND filters lets you pass the maximum or minimum settings. And I don't understand why there is no locks on minimum and maximum setting, which would block you to travel more while you're adjusting the strength of the stops. I think I would like to have that feature in the next version for sure. Other than this, I really like this product, and if you also liked what you have seen so far, you can find links down in the description, also a special discount code if you want to purchase this ND filter. That's it for today. If you find this video helpful, please crush the like button, it helps the channel a lot, and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.